What's up, everybody? I'm Brian. That's Steve. This is the Suffering Swords Podcast, Episode 2. It's January 23rd. And before we start talking about the Sabres, I really wanted to send my condolences to the Peanut family. I know Mr. Peanut was an invaluable member of society, and he'll really be missed. So if we could just have a moment of silence for Mr. Peanut and his loved ones. Alright, thanks. Alright, with that out of the way, we wanted to talk about the Sabres and a more aggravating subject. Not that his death was without its blame and hatred. We wanted to talk about the Pegulas and what they've done with the Sabres from when they bought the team until now. From the way I see it, everything that they touch and everything that they've been a part of has gone wrong in some way.
Yep.
Just so everyone knows, there's going to be a lot of yelling and swearing in this.
Mostly from Brian.
Yeah, I don't know if Steve's going to get as worked up as me.
I let it all out on the Mr. Peanuts moment of silence. I'm just too sad to really get angry right now. But
Yeah. A lot of emotion came out there.
I'll do my best though to keep it together for the episode. And
yeah, I don't blame you
on.
if you can't. You know, it's a very traumatic day.
We'll be able to cut it if try to get everything back together, but we'll do our best.
All right. So we want to start really with the Pegula's ownership. I just wanted to start off with saying everything the Pegulas have done for the city, it doesn't just reach to the Sabres, it goes further than that. I'm not blind to the fact that they've brought a lot of business to Buffalo with Harbor Center.
Yeah, they've helped reshape that area for sure.
Yeah, the waterfront has really come together, and it's kind of blossoming. What once used to just be the arena and parking lots it's kind of turned into somewhat of a little booming area downtown. Harbor Center, 716.
Yeah.
Riverworks. I don't know if they're responsible for all of that, but just the area.
If they're not, then they helped bring that in there anyway.
Right. They've generated a lot of stuff that would lead to that. So not, obviously, when they bought the Sabres, they kind of settled down what a lot of people were worried about, that the team might be moving or something like that, and the same with the Bills. So we owe them, both teams, still in the city. I mean, they're here because of the Pegulas. I mean, who knows what would have happened if they didn't buy them. But with that being said, since then, it's pretty much been a disaster, at least from the Sabres standpoint. With the Bills, they seem to have found Bean and McDermott, who are kind of walking hand in hand with one another, and they're always in unison and walking the same line in the direction they want to go. It's totally different on the other front, though, with the Sabres. First things first, if you go down to the arena, everything is a mess. I mean, the whole thing needs to be updated. I have a list here. So basically, since they took over, there really haven't been any upgrades or renovation that's gone on.
Yep.
Everything looks the same on the outside and the inside. The big thing is seats. They haven't renovated it in any way.
That's been a big complaint.
Yeah, they're shit now. And they were probably pretty shitty when they bought it, and they've just gone further south. when you have an ownership that is as wealthy as they are, I don't think there's any real explanation for why they haven't done anything with it, unless there's something in the works that we don't know about, that they're going to get a new arena in the next 5 years or something, if there's a plan to build that. But even still, I mean, pour some money into it when you buy it, because it's just a disaster right now. Mm-hmm. Along with not upgrading or renovating anything, it doesn't really seem like they even clean it, per se. I saw something on Twitter where people had to have their seats wiped off before the game because a bird shit on them. So there's birds in the building shitting on people's seats, and they're not cleaning it until it's being complained about. And I've also heard that on the 300 level walls at the very top, where they put all of the playoff signs, like the Pominville population and stuff like that.
Ennis the Menace, right?
Yeah. Was he in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah.
No, I don't remember.
Against Philly, yeah.
Okay. Was that his first or second year?
Yeah, one of his first, yeah.
Okay. Well, those signs were held on with tape. The tape is still on the walls. So they haven't washed the walls in like a decade, which is insane. Like, you would think, like, how many days of summer are there, or how many off-season days are there from the last home game to the first home game?
They got a good chunk of time, especially since we don't make playoffs. So.
Yeah, so a decade of off-seasons, and they can't even wash the walls? That seems crazy to me. The other big thing, this is on the outside. Have you seen the Alumni Plaza, or paid attention to the Alumni Plaza, the bridge going across? What's on that?
Honestly, I've never really looked, but...
Well, basically, it goes from left to right, and from the left, it's 1970, and it goes right until present. Mm. You know who's the most present Sabre on there? It's Tyler Myers. And they haven't updated it. They haven't taken him off. They haven't touched it. And that's just... It's inexcusable, because, you go anywhere, and there's... banners of current players, and, there's things everywhere about your current roster that they're updating, and things like that are being updated and covered up with new stuff. Mm-hmm. And that hasn't been touched since they bought it.
Going off of that, the last time I remember seeing something cool in the arena walking around, on the walls, was when they did those, you remember those black and white photo shoots they did?
Yeah.
With this was back when we had Roy and stuff.
Right.
And I remember just them in tight black t-shirts with their stick, Ryan Miller. I remember that was the last time they really changed that from what I remember.
Well, I think if we're thinking of the same thing, I think they have those now, but they're just in-game pictures, and I don't even know how updated they are.
Yeah, it's nothing different. You know?
Right. Yeah, anything that has to do with fan experience and what you look at and just your surroundings seems like it's been completely just ignored. Yeah, that's just walking in and looking around. Once the game actually starts, the arena presentation is just dog shit.
Yeah.
If you go as, we're both 23, if you go as a 23-year-old hockey fan, if you're not watching the game itself, there's nothing hockey related going on, during intermission, or, when they're cleaning the ice during between whistles. It's all it's all games that don't have to do with hockey, weird shit, random trivia about things.
It's the same recycled garbage every game.
Right.
Every single game, except probably people have said good things about the 70s and 80s night and stuff like that.
Right. But I mean, those are so far and few between.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's so like you said, recycled, and it's just the same shit night after night, and it's not even enjoyable stuff.
No.
I think for probably 5 minutes out of the night, they show like around the league scores and updates,
which isn't even them. That's like NHL Network. I'm pretty sure
just
provides
pumping
that.
it in.
And
Yeah,
like,
what like we need to see if you go to a hockey game. At least me, I want to see hockey. I don't want to see kids flossing. And, that's fine if you put it in, like, once a game. But it's, like, every 10 minutes I look up on the board and some kid's doing a Fortnite dance. Yep. And I'm like, please stop this. Like, if you're going to do that, have a segment for it and then move on. Like, it's run its course, and it's just old and corny and cliche, and it's just shitty. And speaking of all of those things, DJ Milk.
I knew that's how you were going to transition into it.
I think he is the tackiest, corniest part of this whole presentation. Like, it's a good idea on paper. Like, to have, like, a DJ who's like, all right, let's pump up the crowd. But he's just not, it feels so forced. And, like, if you're going to have someone like that, like, I don't even know if you can do this, but at least find someone that seems to have like ties to the team or ties to the city, or like bring people in. Like,
I have an idea.
Rob O'Leary.
He'd be good. But I was thinking Zach Bogosian, he's a wannabe DJ. Why don't you just scratch him every night and have him run the DJ shit?
Scratch him so he can scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That's a good idea. That's a really good idea, actually. Right. We should run that by them when we see them next. All right. The Pegulas.
All right.
Yeah, he's the corniest part of the whole thing, and like it's so forced. And on the same page as that, the goal song needs to go.
Yeah, people have been. Well, didn't we vote for that?
I didn't.
Well, I'm just saying, like, there was a fan vote for it.
Yeah.
But, like, the other choices just suck, too.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it needs to be, like, that... It just... Every time we score and it goes off, I'm like, this is so... Like, people around the league, like, must be like, what is that shit?
And it represents, like, a shitty time in our franchise right
it's
now,
time
too.
To move on. Like, I hope next year with the Royal Blues coming back, that they kind of do, like, an entire just reimagining and refreshing of everything that goes on. But I mean, how long have we had that goal song? Like 5 years?
Around that, yeah.
It
seems to be it's been around longer than I think for some reason. But yeah, it's been around, and that it's just people didn't like it from the beginning. They gave us a fan vote, but the choices just were pretty garbage.
Right. I don't know who was voting.
I don't know if they signed a contract or what, that we have to use it for a certain amount of time.
Right.
But it's gone stale and needs to change.
I don't know if you remember, but one of the first years they had it, they would play a video where he would come in and pump up the crowd. It was
Let's go Buffalo.
So cringy because like
he didn't even seem like he was prepared for it. It seems like they're just like, all right, film a pump-up video, and he's like,
yeah, go team! It was so bad, and the whole thing is just like, it. Every time they score, you're like, please let this end. Like, I would be better off just not having one. Honestly. Like,
they really need to just go to personalized player goal songs.
Like a player walk-up in baseball?
Yeah, we've discussed that. And I know some team in the NHL actually did it this year, too.
Mm-hmm. For like a game?
I don't know if it was just a game, but I think it was probably one of the cool teams like Carolina.
That's way too much effort. And Carolina isn't cool.
Well,
some of the
more
things
current.
They do is whatever is a good word for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole presentation of just being at the game is like, I don't even want to go, because it feels so tailored for casuals and kids.
Mostly kids, really.
Yeah, but like, when I go to a hockey game, I understand the value of having something be like family friendly.
Yeah.
But you're going to a professional sporting event with drunks and people who are like amped up, and like shit happens at hockey games sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the environment should be, not that it should like promote that, but it should be okay with it. Like, I feel like they need to come to terms with like it's an adult violent sport, and like you don't have to promote the violence, but don't water it down the way they do with just everything that they put into it to make it family friendly and kid friendly, and like, you know, casuals that come out and like watch a few games a year. That was scary. But it's so cringy to me with a lot of the stuff they do. Like, I'll give them credit when they go during intermission and they get fans to go in like those giant bubble things and they run into each other. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, that's entertaining.
That's fun and entertaining. I don't need to see like, I can't even think of things. Like, I don't need to see the 3 recycle bins with a hockey puck in one of them spin around.
That's how they make their money.
Game after game.
Yeah, it's the same, like we said, recycled stuff. You know, the floss cam is like some dentist. Yeah. I'm pretty sure like they started it and there's like, oh, we can sell this, you know, and then some dentist just bought it.
Well, they should change that to like the toothbrush cam where they like shoot like a toothbrush out of a cannon at people and see who can catch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they need to update everything. It's been just a shit show. It needs to be updated. It feels dated. It feels recycled.
And I know people like Mike Harrington love him or hate him, but like he talks about, and he's a good source for this because, I mean, I've only been to Buffalo for hockey games. I've never been to any other arena, but
right.
Mike Harrington says we have like legit the worst game day presentation out of like any place, and it's tailored to kids, and he's right. It really is tailored to kids, and it's kind of weird. It's like, it makes sense, like those Saturday 1 p.m. games and stuff.
Yeah,
like, those should be kids.
Have kids days.
Yeah, sure.
And like have early starts be like, you know, family friendly more so than the other ones.
Yeah, but like
when you have a 7:00 game against the Toronto Maple Leafs and half of your building are Leafs fans, and you come in with the floss cam and DJ Milk trying to get the crowd hyped, that's just cringy bullshit.
Yep.
And it needs to be, you know, when you have the Leafs in town, make a rivalry video, get people into it. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't need to be over the top like violent starting riots and shit, but do something that just makes you excited to be there. If you weren't, you know, every sport I go to, you know, I go to football games, I go to baseball games, I go to hockey games. When you're at a football game and you're watching the screen, you know you're at a football game. When you're at a baseball game and you look at the Jumbotron or the screen, you know you're at a baseball game. When I go to a Sabres game, if I didn't know there was an ice below it, I'd be like, what event are we at? Because there's nothing to do with hockey. It's all just weird bullshit that they just pump in. And it's recycled and it's the same thing. Like I've said 100 times already that I've recycled. And like, you know, I've gone to like Indians games and Blue Jays games and Mets games and Pirates games, and like all of them are, they know who they are as a team, just their identity. They know the city that they're in, and they know like the players that are on the team, and they get people excited to be there by incorporating all of those things. Like, you know, when you go to a Pirates game, you see, you know, like before every game, they have like basically a pirate raid like on the screen that you watch, and like everything there is related to like anything Pirates, you know, like it's, and they incorporate their players into that, and like the Sabres are just so generic, it feels like, and it's just terrible. I think we've probably touched on that more than enough. Going into like the special games, like you said, the 70s and 80s and 90s night.
Yeah.
Those seem like they're pretty well received, aside from
good.
The 90s night.
Yeah.
But even then, like, you know, they played new songs from the 90s. They had a different goal horn, and they did a throwback to the old goal song, and everyone loved it. And then even fun nights like that are overshadowed by just pure lazy incompetence, because before we get into like 70s, 80s, and 90s night and the 2000s night and whatever, the 50th anniversary night, let's just go to games that are where they just do giveaways. Because you look around the league and teams are giving away, I've seen them where they give out jerseys, they're giving out t-shirts all the time. Bobbleheads, they're giving out like crazy like monochromatic things of players sometimes. Pucks, yeah, stuff that's actually cool. The Sabres hand out sunglasses that are like $2.
Magnetic calendars.
Oven mitts.
Isn't there like a gurney or something for the nurses' night or?
I don't know.
Something.
A gurney?
I don't know.
A rolling bed?
I don't know. That'd be a good thing.
First 500 people in the nurses' night get gurneys.
Something that you fucking wear as a nurse. I don't know what it was. I'm not a nurse. Okay?
I would hope not. Yeah, the gurney is the bed. Okay. Just so you know. They don't wear them. But yeah, like everything that they give out. Oh, the chef's apron. Those are cool.
Yeah.
And like the... what was the Brian Giano one? Like a dish towel?
What, like the jersey? Yeah,
it was a jersey. It was a jersey, but it was like
a fucking like washcloth, basically.
Yeah, what am I supposed to do with that shit? Like it's like I just pin it on a wall. I'm like,
it was so thin that it was like it wouldn't even dry your fucking hands.
It literally felt like this does.
Yeah,
like it was paper thin shit. And I was like, what is the point of this?
Because we went to that game.
Yeah.
That was useless.
The cool one that we went to, we both went to the Hasek ceremony. And they gave out a couple things for him. Mm-hmm. They gave out that like hanging thing.
Yeah, the pennant or whatever.
Yeah, and then you got like I know you got other stuff. I can't think of it right now. But everything that they do in terms of them versus the league is just the bare minimum. And it's gross because like you are not short on money at all. You should be, with the way this team is performing and the way this fan base is still trudging along with this fucking team, you should be pouring money into them as support.
As a thank you, basically.
And they're not even, it's the bare minimum, as little as they can possibly do, and they do that wrong.
Like they do a few shitty like sponsored giveaways, like the schedule and the oven mitt or whatever, and then they do the one big one on Fan Appreciation Night,
right?
Which is like a bobblehead, right? So because remember we got the Eichel one last time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you look around the league, you look at other sports, and yeah, you can argue. Because I know the Yankees do like a ton of giveaways, and you could argue obviously a way bigger market. But, you know, with the Pegulas, the way they talk, like, oh, we can just drill another hole. And, you know, if we're worrying about
get
profit.
Fucking drilling.
Yeah, drill a hole and give us some cool stuff, or renovate the arena, or build a new one.
Just put money into it. Just anything. Like, nothing is being done. Yeah. You look at the fucking prime example of that, 90s night. No goat heads anywhere.
That was sad.
The alumni that came out, did you see the jerseys they were wearing?
I've heard about
the alumni 90s night, where all the players from the 90s that they brought in came out, which didn't include Dominic Hasek for some reason.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Unless maybe he just couldn't make it.
If I'm scheduling a 90s night, I'm calling Dominic Hasek.
Yeah, when can you be here?
When are you going to be here? Yeah. Because that is the number one, like, he's your franchise in that time period.
Because he was at a game earlier. I don't know what.
Yeah, he just showed up.
Yeah, he was like, hey.
Hello. And, like, it's him and Michael Pekka as, like, the captain. And you're like, okay, those two are here. Like, I'm happy. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't need fucking Richard Schmelnick to show up with some fucking plug like that. Not that Schmelnick was bad. I don't really remember him. But their names, not this game. Their names were spelled wrong in another game during the 50th presentation. Those were knockoff goat heads. Did you see that?
No.
There's a picture. I wish I could show it to you now. There's a picture of one. The goat head is tilted. It's not even a straight logo. and then someone took a screenshot. I don't think this is like doctored in any way.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a roller hockey jersey. It's not an Adidas jersey. It's not like an old Reebok jersey. It literally looks like a fucking like rollerhockeyplus.com and like just a generic one that you can make, and they made it. They weren't even real.
And I heard that there's a rumor going around that the reason they didn't get like a red and black jersey for that night is because they didn't submit it in time or something like that.
That's even worse.
Yeah,
I would rather them be like, we don't like those jerseys. I don't want to hear, oh, we forgot. Funny thing, the guy that was supposed to do that called in and we didn't replace him. So like, what kind of incompetent shit is that? Where like, literally, the one thing people wanted on 90s night was like, bring the goat heads back, please.
I was going to buy that jersey 100%.
Yeah, like a ton of people love it. Like, I know it's like a big like splitting point of this fan base is like the royal blue versus like the black and red.
Yeah.
But like for that night, for that era, for people that grew up in that era, that is the holy grail of like why you go there to see those.
Yep.
And not only did they not wear them in games, they didn't even bring them in for warm-ups.
Yeah, I know. They do these like...
Have you seen... Yeah, count out the amount of fucking warm-up jerseys that they've worn. They have like the camo ones, they have the cancer ones.
Yeah, those are the two that came to mind right away.
The actual, not like the... You know what I mean. Not like the cancer jersey. Like the cancer fights... Hockey fights cancer. Yeah, not like that cancerous like half blue and half yellow thing that they like the alternate one that they did.
Oh god,
because that's the cancer jersey.
The super yellow ones, I hate it.
The Steve
Ott one, yeah, I can still see his like grimacing face,
his stupid little face. Yeah,
these suck.
Yeah, but like they can't bring him in for warm-ups. They can't bring him in for the game. You look at the fucking Vancouver Canucks. They have 2 throwback jerseys.
They're doing like a lunar one.
They're doing a Chinese New Year. Sweet. And it looks dope as fuck.
Yeah.
And that's only a warm-up jersey. They got the clearance to do that, but the Sabres can't bring him back an old jersey. The Canucks are wearing their 2 normal jerseys. They have at least 1 alternate. I think 2. Yeah. And then they have 2 throwback jerseys.
Yeah, like the stick ones or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like they're, they have
like the V ones too in warm-ups at
least. They're wearing like 6 different jerseys in games and they have like 10.
That's what I was expecting us to do.
And we don't do any of that. And then like people are looking like I feel like they intentionally just like fucking bullshit us because when people were like, okay, this is going to happen because they were looking on the calendar for when we were supposed to wear our 50th anniversary jerseys. And that game wasn't one of them. And people are like, it's happening. The goat head is happening. Yeah. Like this is definitely a night that they should be wearing the 50th because it's a special night. Mm-hmm. They're not. So it has to be the goat head. And then it was just the fucking... It wasn't even like the special one they made this year. It was just the generic. What the fuck is that? Like, it's terrible.
I don't know.
Like, it's so irritating because the little things that they can do, they just don't do.
That would have just imagine the money they would have gotten, at least for their charity.
It doesn't even make sense that they didn't, because that would be so much extra revenue that they would bring in with jersey sales and just overall fan happiness.
It's just straight up ignorance on their
I don't even know if it's ignorance, because you can't, how can you be that stupid that you don't see that could make you so much money? That has to be incompetence that they wanted to do it and then couldn't for whatever reason. And there's no excuse for it. Like, the NHL, like I said with the Canucks, you can obviously have more than 3 jerseys if you're celebrating something in particular, if you want to wear throwbacks.
Yep.
We just didn't. And it's unbelievable that you can be so incompetent and so out of touch with things in your fan base that you just miss an opportunity like that or pass on an opportunity. It's unbelievable. And it's things like that when people talk about not giving a shit about this team anymore, or not caring about this team, or not having any expectation of anything, and just having this pessimistic attitude about everything surrounding this team. Those are things that you can do that can sway someone in the opposite direction and right the wrongs that you've done, even in small doses like that. And they just don't do it. And it's fucking ridiculous. I don't know how you can be that incompetent. It's unbelievable.
There's not much excuses for that.
There's no excuse for that. It's just crazy. Speaking of the 50th jersey, the one they got right, they still fucked it up because it was in such high demand because they made a beautiful jersey and it's finally an alternate that people like. When's the last time we had an alternate that people enjoyed looking at?
People really like the 40th, right?
Which one's that?
The 40th is the Coletta you have, right? With
the Buffalo cross. The royal blue with like the only gold stitching, and then
on the numbers it's like cross whatever.
People.
I didn't personally think those are great, but I know people liked them a lot. So.
Well, I think mainly people liked those because it was different, and like it was because look through the history of this team. It's been 2 jerseys aside from. The goat head years when we had the red jerseys with the cross swords.
Yeah, those are cool.
That's the only other alternate besides the one you just talked about, the 40th. That dog shit half blue, half yellow with the silver trim. That was one of the ugliest jerseys I've ever seen. And then now we finally have one that people love. Rightly so. They did an amazing job with it. Whoever designed that should like take over whatever else needs to be taken care of for this team because they did an amazing job. And they fucked that up too somehow. It has huge demand and people want to buy them and you can't buy them.
Can you still not?
No.
Really?
You can buy the Fanatics ones. Which are fucking paper.
The worst. They're even worse in person. If you ever thought about getting them, do not get them.
If you think they look bad online or in pictures, go to Dick's Sporting Goods and feel one.
Thanks for clearing that up.
Yeah. Just go and feel one. It's literally like iron-on plastic patches with these like weirdly shiny numbers and like this fake stitch, and they're so fucking bad. And that's the only place you can get them now unless you pre-ordered them when they came out and then got, like, the first legit ones. Because I think the rotation it went in was the first people that got them got the legit, like, stitched on the buffalo. You know, like how it's, like, stitched on the crest?
Yeah, super fancy, yeah.
Super fancy. And then the next one that came out didn't have that.
Really?
I remember, I'm pretty sure I saw them at the Sabres store because I went before the season started.
It probably takes a long time to do that or something.
Yeah.
Which is why they stopped. That
would make sense. I'm pretty sure I've seen Adidas ones. I may be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I saw Adidas ones where the crest was different, but everything else was the same. Just because the crest was like, I assume they were like B grade. But they went from A grade to B grade to fucking Z grade with Fanatics. Because you just can't buy those.
Well, I was wondering... who's the rookie running back on the Bills?
Singletary?
Yeah, he was at a Sabres game wearing, and I remember that he was wearing a jersey.
It was a Fanatics.
And it was a fucking Fanatics. Yep. And I'm like...
You can't get Devin Singletary a real fucking jersey.
Yeah.
They can't get Danny Gare a real jersey. Did you see his like...
Yeah, it was a fake or something.
He was wearing... It was at the Turkey Drive, like one of the Wegmans locations. Yeah. And someone took a picture, and it's a Chinese knockoff Danny Gare jersey.
Yeah, it didn't even have, like, Reebok or whatever on it. Yeah.
It looked bad, too. Like, it's insane that they can't even they spell alumni's names wrong. Like...
That was really bad.
They spelled Mike Robitaille's name wrong.
And a lot of people are really mad at the Pegulas for that, too. You know, I'm here to bring the other side. Whoever was in charge of that obviously failed. Like,
who's in charge of that guy, though?
I know, yeah.
You should not... then as someone who's hiring someone, you aren't doing your job there either.
Yeah, it's just so bad to spell. You can't even like double check the spelling before
no
you
one
send
did.
out the
How many
list?
people saw those before they were given to them, and no one changed it? That to me, like, you know, have you ever worked at a job where none of your bosses give a shit, so none of the employees give a shit? That's
Basically
what this organization is becoming. Because something like that, where you have Mike Robitaille, whatever you feel about him, was with this team for 30 years doing things after he played.
Yep.
He was on broadcasts. He co-hosted shows. Mm-hmm. He's been with this organization for 30 years, and you spell his fucking name wrong and give him the jersey to wear when you're honoring the players like him for the Sabres that are coming back in your honor, in their honor, and you spell their name wrong.
Yep.
That's the most disrespectful, insulting thing you can do. You don't care enough to even spell check their name when you give them these fake jerseys.
So, like, whoever gave the list to the person to give the list to the person to sew them, like, those people messed up. Like, no one like fact checked it or spell checked it, I should say.
I don't even.
And then the person who sewed it didn't even look. And then
I understand.
The person that handed the jersey to the people, like, didn't.
Right.
I mean, maybe they did, and they're like, shit, it's too late.
Oops.
Like,
yeah.
what are you supposed to do? Just not give them a jersey?
Well, that's understood. Like, you know, Dave Andrechuk. Oops, I added a C instead of just CHUK. Like, that's understandable. No one corrected it the whole time. Like, the amount of planning that needs to go into one of these nights to organize everything and bring these people back together. Square one is have them wear the jersey. Step 2, make sure it's spelled right. You didn't get past step 2 of the fucking 30-step process it takes to fucking bring these guys together.
I feel like that'd be the easiest part.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, I know.
Send me out. I'll fucking spell this shit right. And I'll sew it myself. I'll get my little sewing kit out and I'll make it at home. It would probably look better than the fucking jerseys they gave them.
It probably wouldn't be crooked like the knockoff.
Right,
yeah.
The knockoff goat head.
Yep.
Well, that is a tricky one because it already looks like.
Yeah.
Regardless,
yeah.
I won't give them any credit for anything they do because stuff like that, like, you know, you look at it and you're like, oh, that's nice that they're bringing guys back. Mm-hmm. Oh, we spelled their name wrong, gave them knockoffs. The main guy on 90s Night wasn't there. Like, It's just all.
And it wasn't like a last second thing because no one, I don't think like there was no apology or anything like Hashtag being like, sorry, I couldn't be there. Like, it just must have been known. Like, well, it's already set. Sorry, Dom.
Right.
And yes, you know, you're probably doing some like charity work for your like Hashtag's heroes or whatever. Sorry.
I don't think he was. It's like that takes up every day of my week.
He was just home in Europe.
He's like, he was probably watching the game. He's like, hey.
Robitaille? What the fuck's
He was watching the Sabres game. He's like, why wasn't I invited to that? And they're like, oh shit, we forgot Dominic Hasek. Yeah, everything that went on with the jerseys this year, aside from them wearing the 50, is just a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so pathetic. I just can't. I can't get past the incompetence it takes to be that bad. It's unbelievable. And that's something that we should probably expect from them because since they bought the team, look at just the beginning of their tenure as ownership. They bring in, I'm pretty sure I have this right. They brought in LaFontaine to be like a 3-headed operation. It was supposed to be him, some other guy, and Tim Murray. LaFontaine.
Ted Black apart?
No.
Or that was just like, okay, yeah.
Well, all right, I'll get to Ted Black in a second.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to be a 3-headed operation that he was kind of like first in command. It was supposed to be, I don't know if it was a GM by committee but it was supposed to be, he was at the helm with one other guy and then Tim Murray.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim Murray was supposed to be the head of scouting in this 3-person whatever it was. And it came out that Tim Murray hired Ted Nolan. And it was basically not agreed upon with this three-man group. And LaFontaine was like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't agree to that. And whether he willingly left, like he quit, or like he stormed out, or like he was forced out, basically, I don't think it's ever come out. But basically, as soon as they started, they wanted to go in a direction, and the very first thing that happened shot them in another direction. Because they weren't expecting Tim Murray to be the official GM. They brought him in as GM because they had to poach him from the Senators, and they needed to give him a promotion.
Yeah.
Because you can't... It's like offensive and defensive coordinators in football. You can't go directly over. You have to be promoted in order to be taken from another team without the other team's permission. So if Tim Murray was head of scouting for the Senators, we couldn't be like, hey, we want you to be head of scouting for the Sabres. They could be like, no. So we had to give him a higher position. Mm-hmm. So we made him GM, but it was agreed upon that he wasn't going to be the only one. So right away, you're bringing in a guy with no experience that you probably don't want as your official GM, and then just moving in that direction because of whatever happened.
Mm.
And it's mostly agreed upon by people that LaFontaine did not want to leave. They forced him out.
And he didn't show up to any of the alumni stuff.
No,
so.
And he's a huge part of...
He is, yeah.
Like, he is beloved in the city.
Probably in the top 5 Sabres of all time, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I guess he's been exiled or something. But right away, it was supposed to be those 3. It went in another direction. They didn't correct it. And then Tim Murray's path began. And Ted Nolan happened. And everything after Ted Nolan happened. And then whatever happened after Tim Murray is going on now. So right away, they didn't even keep it in the direction they were originally starting to. So who knows where we'd be if they actually handled that correctly.
That is something to stare at the ceiling at night thinking about.
Yeah.
It could have been different.
Yep. Well, there's a lot of things that could have been different.
We still don't have a president of hockey operations.
Nope. Ted Black was the last face of this franchise in terms of like fan interaction.
And people have said it's gone pretty downhill since then. Yeah.
I mean, people don't need to say.
Yeah.
You can look at yourself and be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
But when you don't have someone who is constantly interacting, because Ted Black would come on once or twice a season on the radio, and he would answer fan questions, and he would update people on what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happened with him, he left, he was fired, he quit, they mutually parted, who the hell knows, because none of that ever comes out. Since he left, there's been one letter from Terry Pegula, who was basically like,
sorry that we suck.
Sorry that we're fucking incompetent and terrible. We'll be better. And then it's gotten worse since then. And it's been total radio silence from the Pegulas.
And didn't they raise season ticket prices after? Yeah, they've raised them every year. Yep. Is that true? Okay.
Yep. I don't know if there's obviously reasons that could happen. You obviously have to meet a bottom line for the NHL as an organization that you're part of. Like, everyone needs to contribute a certain amount because, huge market teams give much more than we do in terms of revenue for the NHL.
We do profit.
Our owner is a billionaire. Lose some money, this is what you signed up for. And when he came in Terry Pegula said, like, I will do what is necessary to win.
Mm-hmm.
I'll drill more holes and I'll fucking do whatever is necessary. None of that's happened. And we can't even hold him accountable for it because he's not speaking about anything. He's just cut himself off from everything. And he and Kim are, I'm sure they'll never say it, but they're in over their head. I hope they are. Either that or they're choosing to just fuck everyone over. True. You have the Pegulas sitting in their booth during Sabres games watching. You see no negative repercussions for bad play. You don't see any anger out of anyone in the organization. You know, when the GM comes on the radio and talks, it's everything's fine.
It's a situation where
we're not where we want to be, but we'll get there. Like, okay, look, how?
Look, we're 5 points out. Actually, we're 10 now.
Yep.
Which is we're just like slowly sliding down because teams are catching up in games played.
Right.
But yeah, not in a good spot.
Yeah, but there's no accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I like about Ralph Krueger and his hire is that he seems like a guy that is genuine.
Yeah.
Because listen to the GM, regardless of how you feel about him as a general manager of a hockey team, he bullshits about every single thing that they talk about. He's not a straight shooter. Like, Tim Murray was a straight shooter.
Yeah,
like,
I love that.
Wow, we played like shit last night. Like, that he would say that.
Yeah.
Jason would be like, well, it's a situation where we didn't play our best, but we're going to go on moving forward and hoping that we'll be able to play better in the next game.
They had the excuse, or it was like, oh, it's a bunch of new guys, you know.
Oh, my God.
But now it's like, well, we're, 40-something games in.
You're more than half a season into the new guys not being new guys anymore. Like, when is that going to turn
They still
around?
suck, but yeah.
Yeah, but he would never.
But you're right. He's not. I don't remember him really like taking blame. Ralph Krueger, he's come out and be like, oh, I kept Eichel out there too. Like Eichel had that one terrible turnover in overtime to lose, and he was like, yeah, I kept him out there too long. Simple as that, Right. So, yeah.
Well, it seems like if you listen to them talk, it almost seems like Jason Botterill sounds like a coach, and Ralph Krueger sounds like a GM. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
Like, a coach comes out during press conferences is like, well, we didn't have a good game, and we're going to come out and battle the next game and just keep moving forward.
Yep.
And there's no, like... Jason Botterill doesn't ever sound like there's a real plan. He talks about what's happened. He talked about how trades take over a year to come to fruition. And then he talks about taking it, one step at a time, and we'll figure out tomorrow when it comes.
Yeah.
And Ralph Krueger is out there like, well, we need to look at it by season, and we need to take a season approach and look at the upcoming series of road games and, look at film and then move forward and look at the future.
He's the guy that should be more critical.
Yeah.
If anything, and point out what's going on. But yeah, he just kind of avoids questions, basically.
Right. Yeah, he's never taken accountability for anything that I can remember. I'm sure he has at some point.
Yeah.
But it's never like, we fucked up, or like, yeah, that was a bad move, or like, I don't know why Lawrence Pilot hasn't been up all year. Like, these questions that are so obviously problems are never answered by anyone. And that pisses me off so much, because just any sort of communication is key to this kind of, like, just keeping fans happy.
Yep.
Look at any relationship, whether it's friends or husband and wife or boss or coworkers or anything like that. Communication is the most important thing. And when you're not getting that from the team that you're dumping money into, what's going on? Because it's inexcusable that you can't take time out of your busy schedule of living the billionaire life as Terry and Kim Pegula to come out. You don't even need to say anything. Just write a letter and give it to someone that they can print a bunch of and send out.
Yep.
But it's been radio silence, and that just sounds and looks so tone deaf. They don't have their finger on the pulse of anything that's going on. Everyone that pays attention to this team is looking at these two like, what's the answer? And they don't even try to answer it. They just ignore that you asked.
It's like the best examples of that would be one when everyone was begging for royal blue and they just like ignored it for like years, and then finally they did it. Like they didn't have any communication like, this might happen or we're working on it, blah blah blah. It was just like ignored, put in the dark for so long.
You're just completely cut out of anything in the dark, and then they're just like, royal blue next year.
Yeah,
and everyone's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's about fucking time.
Yeah,
we're not even gonna like thank you for this,
right?
Because
it's like there would have been a fucking uprise against you if it didn't happen. Like, are we supposed to be happy that it just came out of the blue after like 7 years of asking?
Yeah, it's like we're your customers. We're literally going to pay you like $200 a piece for this.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
And then the other example is Jason Bottrill, when they asked him like, "Oh, are you on Twitter and see like people are like, they want Sobotka gone?" And he was like, "Oh, really?" Like that was really bad, because it was like Tim Murray was like, "Yeah, I have a fucking burner account, buddy, so I'm not gonna tell you what it is." And I love that. I was like, dude, he's on Twitter. Like,
at least then you might look at Tim Murray a different way after that. Like, all right, this dude might have like kind of things qualities in a professional that you don't want.
I liked it. That's what I
want. Like it too, but like I can see why some people would be like, that's kind of, that doesn't need to be like, I don't want my general manager going on Twitter and seeing things and making decisions based off of that.
Well, it's not even that. It's like you should see what your fans are saying.
Right.
Like,
right.
Obviously, a lot of them don't know what the fuck they're saying. But...
There's no. It's like, what is LOL? But him saying like, I didn't know fans didn't like Vlad Sobotka. Like,
yeah, you're just acting like you're an ignorant fucking.
There's no. Either way, I don't know what would be worse, that he actually didn't know that people didn't like him, or that he was just lying about it for some unknown reason. Yeah. Like, why can't in that situation you just be like, yeah, we've heard that, but we like, what he brings, and we're going to do what's best for the Sabres, and I think moving forward, that's a direction we want to go in.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
They're saying that? What do you mean you don't like him? What's wrong with him? You're like, well, statistically and analytically, he's the worst forward in the National Hockey League.
Oh, that's what those bars mean in the red? Oh,
is red good or bad? But it's such simple fucking things like that are just, they just numb me to everything. Like, I can't watch this team and be excited, because I know that the people running it just aren't paying attention. And you can't be there for one of your teams with the Bills and not be there for your other team and expect the same result. Because, if you look at the other team, I mean, the NFL is the king of any sport.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, in America, at least.
Well, right, but the amount of money that they make in comparison to anything, like soccer overseas, like that...
That's probably the comparison, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, even revenue-wise, like, for the amount of people that play soccer and the amount of money that it makes compared to the amount of people that play and watch football and the amount of money that the NFL makes, they're probably just hand in hand with one another.
Yeah.
And it's understandable why you would put your efforts toward the sport that's going to make you more money.
But why? That's not even like... It's not like it's his only source of revenue.
Well, right, but I mean, everyone... It doesn't matter how much money you have. People are always going to want more money. And I'm sure Terry Pegula didn't make billions of dollars not caring if he made or lost money.
Do we have stats on how much the Bills made? I know the Sabres profited at least. I mean, I don't know if they will this year because we're like right up against the salary cap. Mm-hmm. So I know we barely profited from the last Forbes list I looked at, but
yeah, that's not anything that I ever look at. But if you just look at the NFL, they're making an insane amount of money. They're like the biggest company in the United States, basically. Just in terms of television airtime and the amount of revenue being brought in and the amount of time people are involved in the sport one way or another, whether that's like sports betting or fantasy football or just watching on TV, like it doesn't get bigger than that. They're the biggest TV draw in the world. I mean, nothing beats an NFL season in the amount of football people watch and the amount of anything people watch. And when you have a team in that league and then you have a team in a much smaller league, I mean, it's still the NHL, but it's not, it's a shadow of the NFL. It doesn't come close. Mm-hmm. You can't put all your efforts into one and ignore the other and expect the same outcome.
So just hire someone to oversee the Sabres.
Right, but they had that, and they got rid of the guy, and they've never brought anyone back, and it's showed because they've just, every step of the way, they've like kicked themselves in the nuts doing it.
Well, what's Kim's position?
She's co-owner.
But didn't Terry like promote her to like something to run the Sabres or something on the Sabres side?
I don't know.
Well, either way, it hasn't really done much.
Well, if anything, it's gone horribly wrong because this, oh my God, I can't even, it just hurts my head to talk about all these things. Like, I could probably spend 4 hours just yelling about this team. Just from the last thing I wanted to touch on before we kind of start to wrap it up is it's the little things that matter and the smallest thing you can possibly do, like social media. If you look at the Bills Twitter account and the Sabres Twitter account, the Bills are fun. They have a ton of shit with players doing things like organically. They're not setting them up to play fucking Guess Who? Yeah, that's fun TV.
Jimmy Vesey and Evan Rodriguez face off.
That's a duo. And it came right down to the wire. Cool. That's exciting. Holy shit. Does he have brown hair?
Is he American? No. Canadian? No.
Is he a mascot? Yes. I wonder who. That's on the Sabres side, and then you have the Bills side where you have, fun personalities with like Trey White's always in shit. Josh Allen is like a lovable person that they always talk to.
Smiling, having a good time.
They do like office trivia with him. Mm-hmm. Like our long snapper has become like a celebrity because like they just, whoever's running that does it right because I think they know what people enjoy watching. And I understand that the Bills and Sabres fan bases are on two completely different planets when it comes to how they feel about the team. Me being both a Sabres and Bills fan, the Bills are on their way up and the Sabres are still on the fucking ground. Just skidding along.
Straight line.
Yeah, they're not even, that you can't go further south than they've been the last decade.
Yeah.
But then you look at the Sabres Twitter account, and it's like Guess Who, and they do some fun things like the ping pong. They did
some cool stuff for Christmas.
Yeah, they do like when they had Casey Middlestat do the Home Alone thing, and then they had like Zach Bogosian and other people reenact National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah,
that's stuff that I want to watch. Mm-hmm. But then I go on Twitter, and I check their account. And it's like, check out our daughter's latest makeup line, and we're going to promote that. And it's like, you have the nerve to not only ignore everything that's going on with this team, but use the team as a platform to promote things that have nothing to do with the product at all. And I'm sure they do that with the Bills too. But it doesn't matter what team it's with. The fact that the Pegulas are using that huge market and just that platform, ignoring everything else that's going on, and then promote their own shit, it's unbelievable. And it's gross. That shouldn't be, like, I don't even know what that's like. You can't even think of another company that gets into, you know, it would be like someone running, I can't even think of something. It's just so bad with
promoting your own company without
right.
Really, I mean, yeah, it's always in bad taste, right?
Yeah, and it's so, like, again, it's just tone deaf, and I can't even think of a comparable with it because, like, it's just so, it's things like that you dig yourself deeper and deeper into the hole with, and from the very bottom floor of things that you can do are just not being done. Like, number one thing that they need to work on is just doing the little things right. Because you think of the end goal of an NHL team is to win the cup. They're nowhere near that. So, you know, if you look at that as an end goal, there's several steps along the way. And step one is keeping your fans happy with the simple shit. And that means not fucking up the simple shit like you have been. And spending time and effort into doing it. Because they're not spending money. They're not spending their time. They're not talking to people. They're not communicating it. And nothing is happening.
Yeah. I mean, I remember everyone just hated the Sabres social media account. There was always just a lot of the, you know, people not related to the Sabres, but were a part of the Sabres community. They would always, you know, just kind of bash it. It was boring. And I remember they got rid of the head person. I think they actually promoted him to, like, something else in the Sabres. Within, like, and for some reason, I'm thinking it's, like, analytics based.
Oh, okay, good.
Even though we have one person in our analytics department, but maybe he's
well, everyone knows everybody on Twitter is really smart. So, like, an analytics job is probably a good step up from Twitter account.
Yeah, of course. But, yeah, just whoever they got now, I mean, it's a little better, but, and I'm sure it's more than one person, you know, like, kind of, like, generating ideas, but, like, even, you know, during the games, it's like, we'll get a goal highlight, like, a period later for some reason, and of course, it's, like, sponsored by Perry's or something, and then just, like, we get scored against, and it's, like, a emoji, like, oh.
Boston gets another one.
5-1 Boston.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they have gotten better, like you said, from the previous years because it was just a disaster.
But it was, like, you can't really, you know, it's like better from like this, and now it's like
here. it's
but
gone
it should
from
be like here.
Right. You're
teams that weren't even existing, like Vegas. I know they kind of got annoying, but they're like good again now. I think they fired whoever they had, but like. They weren't even in existence, and they're already better than us at like 90% of things. Right.
Well, look at Philly and what they've done with Gritty.
Yeah,
he has his own.
Before he punched out a 13-year-old.
I mean, we have Andrew Peters who kind of tried to do the same thing.
That's true.
But with the Twitter account, like, it's such simple things can be done. Like I was at work the other day, and I got a notification that they tweeted something, and I opened it, and it was like, we've assigned Lawrence Pilot, who were the other two they sent down? Scott Wilson,
yeah.
And who was the third?
I don't know.
This is exciting stuff right
Whatever.
now.
Doesn't
matter. Whoever it was Lawrence Pilot was one of them. And the first thing that came to mind was, are you fucking kidding me? And then 5 seconds later, I was like, oh, it's the All-Star break.
Yeah.
But, like, all they had to do was add, like, 4 more words, and it was like, we've assigned Lawrence Pilot to the AHL to be in the All-Star because
he's actually not attending, but they have games in between it, right?
Well, right, but all you had to do was include that, like, for the All-Star break. All you had to do was say that, because you had people, you know, a lot of people were like, it's for the All-Star break, everyone, like, relax.
Yeah.
But some
Chill.
people are like, are you fucking kidding me?
Burn the franchise!
Burn it down! Yeah, like, people were like that, and, like, you could have avoided all of that. I mean, understandably, it's people that, you know...
Just want to complain.
Yeah, but, like...
For good reason.
But there's some people that, like, genuinely got upset for, like, a half an hour before they finally read shit and was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Because they just couldn't be bothered to add anything onto it. And, like, it's just such simple things like that, like, it's so obvious that this would smooth things over, and they just keep it rough and bumpy the whole way.
They're just egging us on.
Yeah, they are.
Like
it's almost like they want us to just, like, lose our fucking minds. But with that being said, like, how do you think they can repair their image and fix this franchise?
The whole franchise?
Just, it's got to start somewhere.
Listen to the fans.
Yeah.
And I mean, they do their little polls like, oh, what do you want the goal song to be? Oh, what do you want, or who has the best nickname of all time? Like, stupid shit like that. I mean, do they take surveys from, like, the season ticket holders? Are they listening? I'm pretty sure they're supposed to. I don't know if they're listening, but, like, you know, quit keeping fans in the dark. You know, maybe, you know, renovate. You know, hire some people that can spice up. Hire some people, you know, for hockey operation. I think that's like the number one thing I'd like to see. But like, hire some people for the in-game stuff, because clearly, I mean, hire someone from, like, you know, places that, you know, have raving reviews for things like that. You know, take some people from other, you know, give them a raise from, like, Nashville or whatever, and have them come here and spice it up, because it's been the same thing the past few years. You know, they do a really good job with, like, video production. Like, that one, like, NHL 94 thing they did was super cool. They've done some really good, you know, they've done a good job with, like, tributes for the 80s, 70s, and whatever, all those nights.
Well, when they...
Yeah. But, like...
Presentationally, it looks good, but then you start digging deep and you're like, oh my god, this is a disaster.
Have more themed nights. Like... You know, give people a reason to go, something cool. I mean, even the Yankees did, like, Game of Thrones night. They do a Star Wars thing. I mean, just
and they don't even have a mascot. The Yankees are fucking douchebags.
Fair enough, but even so, it might be better than having fucking Sabretooth, but that's another...
Dude, you can't... All right, I'm drawing the line there. Sabretooth...
He's corny.
He's not corny, he's adorable.
Compared to... Now that I see, like, Gritty... And, like, the Phillies Fanatic and all those, like, cool mascots.
Well, yeah, they're cool, but, like, there's so many other...
And then you just have, like, doofy Sabretooth. Like,
yeah, but he's lovable, though. But, like, he should be, like, that should be the line that, like, all right, we have Sabretooth. That's good enough. We don't need the floss cam and shit like that. Like, I have no problem with Sabretooth. It's everything around Sabretooth that I have a problem with. Sabretooth has got his grubby little paws on everything and cuting everything up. All right, we need to make it ugly again.
You want to get rid of DJ Milk?
Yeah, Milk.
Milk? Dude, DJ Milk, he seems like a nice, swell, sweet man. I don't know who his boy is. That he's like DJ Milk and Cookie in the background or whatever. But like, you know, they do, I feel like they put a lot of heart into it, but...
It doesn't work.
We're done with that. DJ Milk he's started to spoil.
Did you think of that?
Yeah, I just thought it. No, I just thought it.
God, you sound pre-prepared.
No, it was just right in the noggin. But yeah, he's spoiled. Let's move on from him. I don't think we need a DJ. We just need some, like, we've played the same music for the past.
What is he even doing? He's just got like he's got like the same 4 tracks. He's like, uh-oh, here it comes again.
Actually, they did add one song. They added that Panini song by Nas or whatever, whatever.
Lil Nas X.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my, you know, that's my opinion. spice it up, bring in a president of hockey operations. I still, we talked about last episode. I still have, Bacho still has a little time for me until we really start raging. But what do you think we got to bring in? Or we got to do?
I agree. President of hockey operations should be your number one. It's a linchpin.
Yeah.
Because that is your communication with fans. That's your communication from ownership to management. He's the middleman for everything. And if you have shown, they've shown that they can't do that or they choose not to, you need someone in that position. That's the biggest thing. And I've heard from different places that Ralph Kruger is going to coach for a few years and then possibly be moved up.
I heard that too.
Depending on how he does. I'm fine with that. He's someone that I would love in that position. That being said, it should not have had to take this long or come to, calling him up to do that.
Yeah.
But, he's a really good start in a direction that I want to go because people like him, players like him, and he's a nice face that you just want representing the team. I need that. I need everything renovated with the arena. You don't need to build a new one, but, make some changes. Put some new seats in. Clean the fucking walls.
Yeah.
Sweep, simple things like that.
Sweep, yeah.
Everything. Just, they're making a nice step with bringing back the correct blue next year. Do a wholesale change with everything. Make everything right again. Because they had it right when, obviously winning solves everything. And that's the most important thing. But when a team is neither winning nor bringing people in that are enjoying what they're doing besides watching the game, that's a lose-lose. Yep. At least some teams have one or the other. But yeah, and you need to spend money to do that. And you have so much money to just blow. And you said you would. We're holding you to that. Fans aren't stupid. They can see when you do and don't spend money. And you can see when they do and don't put effort in. And you can tell when they're paying attention and when they're not paying attention. And they need to fix the little things and work from there because it needs to start somewhere. And, you can't fix everything overnight. But right now, they're not fixing anything. They're just letting it fucking plow itself into the ground over and over again. And, they just need to be here for the team because they're not. And fans aren't stupid people. And we see through when you're not doing your job. And right now, they're not doing their job. And that needs to change. Because we deserve better. And the organization deserves better. And everyone...
fans deserve better.
I meant...
Well,
I didn't
just,
mean...
I thought you just meant me and you.
No, I'm not selfish like that. But yeah, on that note, that seems like a good place to wrap it up.
Oh, yeah.
Fix your fucking team! That's all I gotta say. I didn't
now?
yell yet.
Yeah.
I made it through without
your voice
really...
raised a little bit, but
yeah.
There's your big yell.
That felt good. I might need to fucking... Wash your walls! Fix your seats! Hire people that know what the fuck they're doing!
Brian, you're scaring me.
I don't care. All right. We're going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please share it with people. We really like doing this. If you have any questions, give us something new to talk about. We'd love to hear from anyone watching. And that's pretty much all we got for today. So,
see you guys next week.
Yeah, maybe. Well, there's games next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
If that new disease that's coming out doesn't kill us by then, stay safe.
What new disease?
I'll tell you about it later.
Okay. All right, bye.